Welcome to another round of the back page here at SDH. The stories that we don't have the time to address, miss, catch too late, and can't quite get into the morning show, we've decided to bring them here to the weekend, just as kind of a way to wrap up the week and get you ready for part of the week that could be. So what we will do this week is we'll give you some stories about the law, and we will give you some stories about massive comebacks. We'll go through the lower divisions. We'll give you some possible ownership changes and some things to keep an eye out for when it comes to the week that will be. So welcome once again to the back page. Welcome to the back page here at SDH, and we'll go ahead and start with probably one of the wildest comebacks we've seen in quite some time. It did set EFL history, without question, when it came to the second leg of Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough United. Posh going in had a 4-0 lead, and everybody was sitting there thinking, okay, fait accompli, yeah, it's done, until it wasn't done. So here's your highlights of one of the comebacks of the ages. Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough United, courtesy of our friends at the EFL, ESPN, FC, and YouTube.
Not been an easy week for him. Online abuse flying his way, but the support that has come his way has been predictably heartening. He's such a popular man, but also wonderful to see and hear. They've got the crowd, they've got the atmosphere. They've got all of that in their favour, but they've also got to make up a 4-goal deficit. Remember, Barnsley or Bolton await in the final. But for now, it's Sheffield Wednesday dreaming of the seemingly impossible. Now Barry Bannon. Oh, that's clumsy. Penalty. 8 minutes in, Sheffield Wednesday with a chance for serious momentum. It's Smith to give them the lead, to give them belief. I would have thought for Darren Ferguson's liking. It's a great ball in again. Gregory attacking it. Falls for Patterson, turned in! 2-0! It's still on here. Gregory stuck out his left boot, and he's dragged Sheffield Wednesday back into this. 25 minutes gone, they lead 2-0 on the night. They trail only 4-2 on aggregate now. Ends up giving it away. There's the overhead, terrific save. What an attempt that is from Gregory. That would have been some moment here at Hillsborough. This Palmer chasing forward. Oh, great dummy. James is in. Wednesday have scored again. The dream is still very much alive. A first ever Sheffield Wednesday goal for Reece James. And what a time to score it. This is Sheffield Wednesday's season. Where will it end? Flint goes up, it ricochets around. Bannon. Johnson floats it in for Aidan Flint! They've done it! They have done it! Palmer! The most experienced player! The club hero on the end of the header! just stunning and staggering. And where does it go next? Where does it go next? Johnson Clark Harris, 26 goals this season. Barely a sight of goal here. Dangerously in! Peterborough in front! They finally make something happen! Thompson attacked it! The quality was there, but did it come off Gregory? Time for the Peterborough fans to celebrate. Let's have a look. Thompson in there, Gregory too. Yeah, it's off the back of Gregory. The player they were trying to take off before Johnson had to come off. Patterson was having his shirt tugged. That's what the crowd were enervated about. Now Bannon. It's a better ball now for Jaden Brown to tee it up. Huge chance! Patterson draws them level. And how he kept his cool. The first one was blocked. And then the second, he just caressed past the goalkeeper. Look at this, took the touch, found a way. 5-5. The responsibility falls to Jack Hunt. His 150th appearance for Wednesday. His 13th playoff appearance, the most in the squad. Former servant of Huddersfield, now to take Wednesday to Wembley! The history makers! They have overturned a 4-goal deficit to win the playoff semi-final. One of the craziest nights you will ever see. Peterborough thought they were there. They were so nearly there. Then it was wrenched away.
So that sets up one of the finals, and this is the race to Wembley that we see, who are going to be those third teams that are going to be making promotion next season. In the championship on the 27th, so next Saturday at 11:45, Coventry and Luton Town will determine the third team going into the Premier League for the 23-24 season. If Luton Town wins, they will definitely be one of the Cinderella stories going up and probably one of the favorites to go back down. Luton Town would have to actually make about $12 million in capital improvements to their facility to make it Premier League ready. So we'll see what happens. Coventry and Luton Town on the 27th at 11:45. In League One, it is Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday. That one is on next Monday, the 29th, 10 o'clock in the morning. Barnsley going in as a plus 241. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 225. Sheffield Wednesday is a plus 116. Going into at the end of the regular season, heading into the playoffs, Sheffield Wednesday was your 3 seed. Plymouth and Ipswich were your 2 automatic promotions heading into the championship for next year. So Sheffield Wednesday, 10 points better than Barnsley, 96 points to 86 in League One this season. In the 22-23 season, Bolton and Peterborough, the 5 and the 6, made it into the promotion playoff. In the League Two, when you look at what happened in England, the 2 teams left standing trying to figure out who's going to League One, Carlisle and Stockport County. Carlisle, a plus 210, and this one will be a week from Sunday, so the 28th at 8:30 in the morning Eastern Time. Carlisle United, Stockport County. Stockport County's a plus 141. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 206. Carlisle is a plus 210. Going into this was the 4 and the 5 in this particular go-around. Salford City was the 7 seed going in. Bradford City was the 6. So you end up with chalk. You end up with Stockport County winning 3-1 in leg number 2 to win 3-2 on the aggregate over Salford City. Carlisle did the same. It was 3-1 on the second leg, and Carlisle knocked off Bradford City. So that's where you are with League 2 when it comes to the promotions that are coming up in short order that weekend at Wembley that we all look at the end of the regular season for the Premier League. And we see who is going to be joining folks in the Premier League, who's going to be joining folks in the in League 1, and who's going to be joining folks in League 2. So it's been a fun season so far with what we've been able to watch in the leagues in and around the Premier League in England. Going over the other leagues and where things stand with only a handful of weeks to go. And if there's a league that we miss and you want to know what's going on, feel free to reach out to us, let us know, and we will break it all down for you. In France right now in Ligue 1, with the standings being what they are, a couple weeks left in the regular season there. Some teams have played 35 matches. Some teams have played 36. There are 38 games left in the season, and it is 3 of the 4 teams that are going to be relegated back to Ligue 2 have been decided. Troyes, Ajaccio, and Angers, they are on their way down. It looks like it's going to be, and this is just with math, a Nantes, Auxerre, and Strasbourg, 3 for 1. Auxerre has a match in hand right now at 34 points. Nantes is the 4th team in the relegation zone at present at 33. They've lost 3 of 4. And Auxerre is at 35 matches played, 34 points, and Strasbourg 39 points, and I include them just for the sake of math when it comes to how things are right now. Ligue 2, when it comes to promotion and the standings right now, you're looking at Le Havre and Bordeaux. Le Havre is at 71 points. Bordeaux is at 69. It's a 38-match schedule, and Metz could sneak in. They're going to have to win out and get some help. Metz is 3rd right now at 66 points. Bordeaux is at 69. Le Havre, a match in hand, is at 71. So those 2 of those 3 will be making their way up into Ligue 1 next season. Also going on Bundesliga, and we'll get into Bundesliga B also. We know that this one's going to come down to the wire. Bayern Munich, a point ahead of Dortmund. Dortmund with a match in hand, 68 points to 67. And it is a 34-match schedule. So Dortmund has 2 matches to make up the 1-point deficit. Bayern Munich has the 1 match left. They play Cologne on next Saturday. Cologne right now is in 10th at 42 points. Dortmund's next match is on Sunday, and it is against Augsburg. And so we'll see what it looks like there at 34 points. Leipzig is at 63 points with a match to go, so they will be in 3rd. Union Berlin and Freiburg are going to determine the 4 and the 5 when it comes to who is going to Champions League and who's going to Europa League. Union Berlin has Werder Bremen next Saturday, and Freiburg has Eintracht Frankfurt next Saturday. So we'll see what happens there. Bayer Leverkusen, and this is once again where the fun begins for the Europa Conference League spot. Bayer Leverkusen, with a match to go, has Borussia Mönchengladbach on Sunday. And Wolfsburg right now is also at 49 points. They have Hertha Berlin. Hertha has been relegated, so we'll see what happens there. Eintracht Frankfurt, we mentioned them with Freiburg, and they are at 33 matches. So the 2 matches going on to set everybody up for next Saturday, and that's where things stand in the Bundesliga. Stuttgart won 4-1. Dortmund and Augsburg was the match that everybody's going to be looking at heading into the last week of the regular season in Germany. Bundesliga B, remember, and this is that crossover where you have the promoted teams and then the crossover playoff. Darmstadt and Heidenheim and Hamburger right now with a 34-match schedule all have a match to go. So Darmstadt could be 1 or 2. Heidenheim could be 1, 2, or 3. Hamburger could be 2 or 3. So we'll see what happens there. Once again, the top 2 get automatically promoted. The third team is the one that goes into the promotion playoff, and they would play the team that is second to last in the standings. Right now we mentioned what's going on in the Bundesliga and Bundesliga B. Bundesliga B, just to let you know, Arminia Bielefeld could get a double relegation. Right now they're 16th, and they would be in that promotion playoff spot in Bundesliga B. How they have fallen, and they could go into Drei Liga next year if things don't go the way that they would like. Standings in the Bundesliga down at the bottom. We mentioned Hertha Berlin has been relegated. Schalke, and this is once again 4 teams and 2 spots. Augsburg at 34 points, Stuttgart at 32, ahead on goal difference for Bochum. Bochum has a minus 35 in goal difference. They need some help. It won't be math that's going to get it done for them. And Schalke is at 31 points. So the relegation battle will be interesting on the last week of the regular season as well, with 4 teams within shouting distance of each other for the 2 spots, 1 automatic relegation, 1 the relegation playoff. So it'll be very, very interesting in Germany as well when you look at what's going on there. Serie A, we've had another relegation, so we know what it's looking like. At least it's piecing itself together. 2 matches to go, and Cremonese has been relegated. Their goal difference right now is at a minus 34. They're going to need a lot of help if they were to just on positioning, because Sampdoria is going down. Cremonese is going down at 24 points. If they win out, they'd be at 30. And Spezia right now is in 17th at 31 points with 2 matches to go. So 1 relegation spot left. Lecce's at 33 points. Spezia is at 31. Hellas Verona is at 30, and they've lost 3 of 4. So 3 teams, 1 relegation spot left in Serie A. The way that the fight is for European football, Juve's at 69 points, and they have 3 matches to go heading into Sunday. Inter has 35 matches played at 66 points. Lazio's 35 matches played 65. Europa League, AC Milan right now is at 64. Atalanta Europa Conference League, they are 6th at 61. Roma is 7th at 59. They've drawn 3 of their last 4 at 59 points. So the European League spots for Europa and Europa Conference, and so, I mean, Juve looks like they might be clear for second. The positioning might be a little different, but keep an eye on 2 through 7 in Italy to figure out who goes to European football, who goes to Europa League, who goes to Europa Conference League. Nick always mentions how Serie B is a knife fight in a phone booth, and you have playouts and playoffs going on later this week. 25th, 8 o'clock in the morning, Cosenza Brescia, first leg of the play-out. Playoffs in Serie B, Südtirol and Regina, Friday, and then the playoffs, Cagliari, Venezia, they are in the playoffs on Saturday. June 1st is the second leg of the playout with Brescia and Cosenza, depending on what happens in the first leg on the 25th. Standings in Serie B, Frosinone and Genoa. Genoa, even with a 1-point deduction, look like they are heading up to Serie A. So Frosinone, Genoa, right now, they are heading up at 80 points and 73. Who they will be joined by, once again, we don't quite know yet. Bari and Parma are waiting for the second-tiered playoff, the Serie B quarterfinals, when we mentioned Cagliari, Südtirol, Regina, and Venezia. So we'll see what happens there. Those winners, 5, 6, 7, and 8, get Bari and Parma to figure out who gets to go into Serie A as the third team. You have your play-out. We mentioned Brescia and Cosenza, and your relegation spots in Serie B, Perugia, Spal, and Benevento. Spal has fallen. Double relegation in short order for them as well. Also, let's see if there's any other. Let's mention Mexico with Liga MX and let you know what's going on there when it comes to the Clausura. Club America and Chivas, they are going through their particular Clausura playoff right now, and it is Tigres who have advanced to the Clausura final. They will get the winner of Club America and Chivas, the 2 and the 3 in the Clausura in Liga MX. Also, once again, touring to see if there's any league that we might have missed when it comes to what's going on. Let's take a peek at the SPFL when it comes to Rangers knocking off Hibs in the championship group. Remember, we have the split. Jarrett can tell you all about that and how it knocks itself around. The relegation group has played 36 matches, and it's pretty tight at the bottom. Kilmarnock, Ross County, and Dundee United are within 3 points of each other. And keep an eye on that. And in the championship group, right now it is Celtic, 8 points ahead of Rangers, Aberdeen, and Hearts. And they are determining what it's going to look like for Europe. And Hibs finished 36 with 36 matches with 48 points. St. Mirren at the bottom of the championship group with 46 points. So that's your Scottish rundown as to what is going on there. La Liga in Spain, and if you have ESPN Plus, just as a bit of a reminder, and how crazy things are in La Liga 2, absolute craziness when it comes to looking at the 7-box that they have and monitoring everything that's going on right now to figure out promotion. Your Champions League spots with 3 matches to go. Barcelona, who've clinched. Atleti and Real Madrid fighting for second. Real Sociedad kind of fighting for third. They need to kind of get a little distance between themselves and Villarreal, who's at 60 points. Villarreal and Real Betis at 60 and 55 are in Europa League. Athletic Bilbao right now is in the Europa Conference League spot. They are being chased by Girona, 2 points back. Osasuna and Sevilla, 3 points back, varying degrees of goal difference. Sevilla with a match in hand. They have 47 points. Rayo Vallecano is at 46. So basically you have 4 teams chasing from 4 points back to 2 points back, from 8, 9, 10, and 11 chasing after the Europa Conference League spot. I'll include Mallorca into the deal, but they'd have to win out at 44 points. Your relegation spots, and this is really tight as well. Elche relegated, that we know. Espanyol at 34 points. Valladolid at 35 points have lost 5 in a row. And they are in the relegation zone right now. But Cadiz, Valencia, and Getafe, 15, 16, and 17, are no more than 3 points away. Almeria and Celta Vigo are no more than 4 points away. So relegation impacts everybody from 13 to 19, separated by 5 points in La Liga right now. So keep an eye on that with 3 weeks to go in the regular season in Spain. Absolute craziness there. And we mentioned what's going on in La Liga 2 to figure out who's going to be promoted with what happened yesterday and with what's happening today. Granada, Las Palmas, Alaves, Levante, Eibar, all separated by 5 points for your first 5 spots. The first 2 get automatic promotion. 3, 4, 5, and 6 do the promotion playoff and figure out who's going to advance out of that. So right now, after 41 matches, and in some places 40, 1 match to go, you have chaos, basically. So you don't know who's going to win. You don't know who's at 2, 3, 4, or 5. Albacete, if they win, can go no more than 67 points. So they pretty much have the 6 locked in. They just don't know where they're going in the first round of the promotion playoff. So if you have something else to do in addition to all the other monitors that you might have going next week, La Liga 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to determine who gets automatically promoted and who goes into the promotion playoffs. You could have teams lose and drop into the promotion playoff. You could have teams win and get automatically promoted. So Spain, definite watches next year in La Liga 2. So keep an eye on that as well. So very, very busy time for a lot of things going on across the board when it comes to promotion and relegation in the European window. Now, we mentioned promotion and relegation, and we mentioned what's going on in England. This is where we get into the legal part of what's going on. And the focus is on Fleetwood Town. And, we mentioned a couple of different teams. Everton, will get into them coming up in just a little bit as we build back into the Premier League. Fleetwood Town finished 13th, middle of the pack in League One this past year. Fleetwood Town, 58 points, did okay, just under 500. They were safe pretty much. But keep an eye on their situation because Their football boss, Andy Pilley, has been found guilty of fraud charges in relation to allegations of mis-selling energy supplies. Complex fraud trial, and it was one where Pilley was found guilty on all counts of the charges facing him. Jury reaches a unanimous verdict. Pilley remanded in custody to await sentence. The judge indicated that Pilley, the chairman of Fleetwood Town, is likely to face a prison term. The case has been adjourned until Tuesday to fix a date for sentencing. Club issued a statement noting the verdict and insisting that it was business as usual. Pilley was found guilty of 2 counts of running a business with intention of defrauding creditors, 1 count of false representation, 1 count of being concerned with the retention of criminal property. His sister and two other individuals also charged with a number of offenses relating to fraud. They've been found guilty of some of the charges against, acquitted of others. Defendants have been bailed until the court hearing on Tuesday. Charges relate to the various businesses Pilley owns under the umbrella name of Business Energy Supplies. Prosecution was brought by Regional Trading Standards. So keep an eye on a team in the middle of the pack in League One and what may happen with them because of their director of football, one of the heavyweights that's in charge of them. Could be spending time in prison and what happens there. So we'll keep an eye on that one going forward. We mentioned Everton. Everton possibly could have a takeover starting next week. 777 Partners linked with the takeover. Miami-based firm, we've heard of them before, linked with a full takeover of Everton in recent days. One of a number of potential investors to have held talks with Everton owner Farhad Moshiri and his reps in recent months. However, middle of last week, a report in the 4-letter paper claims 777 could acquire the club in a full takeover as early as next week in a £600 million deal, dependent on whether or not the club can retain Premier League status. Obviously, when the Liverpool Echo knocked on their door, 777 declined comment. Farhad Moshiri has been seeking to sell some of his 94% shareholding in the club in a bid to recapitalize the business. Quoting the Echo, it's a challenge that's been made more difficult by the uncertainty remains over both what the league and club will be playing in next season and what, if any, punishments handed down for the alleged breaches of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Latest reports suggest the Everton owner may well be ready to relinquish his full stake, pass the baton to new owners. Just months after telling the club's fan advisory board the club wasn't for sale. Interest in investment from New York-based MSP Sports Capital, whose co-founders Jam Najafi and Jeff Morad came to watch the January loss to Southampton. MSP have remained in dialogue with Moshiri, and his reps and talks were said to be moving toward a more advanced stage, according to people with the matter that Liverpool Echo spoke to. MSP, according to the 4-letter paper, remained in the race to strike a deal with Moshiri. In February, first reported by Bloomberg, 777 Partners revealed to be another potential investor into Everton as they sought to add to their global portfolio of football investments spanning across Europe and South America. Talks were held in the early months of the year, and that interest remains serious. 777, big portfolio. MO is to provide growth capital, lend expertise to unlock latent value in the markets in which they sit. So we'll keep an eye on that. News of 777's interest in Everton came on the back of MSP and their co-founder Najafi having been linked with a $3.1 billion pound bid for Spurs, as reported by the Financial Times at the start of February. And the focus has remained on Everton, according to the Liverpool Echo in their conversations. When it comes to the Premier League, they have more than $6 billion in assets under management. Co-founded in 2015. Ownership in Genoa, Vasco da Gama, Standard Liège, Red Star, and most recently Hertha Berlin, who we mentioned got relegated this year. All those deals closed having been for controlling stakes in the football clubs as they want to build a multi-club portfolio. They also have a minority stake in Sevilla. Vasco da Gama's deal was in February 2022, and that got the 777 talent pool to expand into the Brazilian market. So we'll keep an eye on 777 and Everton. Possibly, probably, maybe. We'll find out. We'll see what happens with them coming into next week. Also on the board, something else to keep an eye on, and how we continue to mention Saudi Arabia chasing after the World Cup in 2030. Ed Aarons and Romain Molina over at The Guardian. Late last week, Saudi Arabia is in talks with the Confederation of African Football over a $200 million deal to sponsor the new African Super League in an agreement that could help to secure the continent's support for any future World Cup bid. CAF had been due to launch the 24-team tournament, heavily supported by Gianni Infantino in August, as a part of plans to raise the global profile of the African clubs and generate revenue. The Super League, first mooted by Infantino in 2018 and announced by CAF's president Patrice Motsepe in October, is planned to have a prize fund of $100 million. $11.6 million for the winner, almost $8 million more than currently on offer for the winners of the African Champions League, and a solidarity fund bringing each of the 54 CAF member associations $1 million a year toward football development. However, The Guardian says it's understood its start will be delayed until the 24-25 season, when the sponsorship deal with Saudi Arabia is expected to begin, and that a slimmed-down version featuring only 8 teams will run from mid-October to the end of November next season. Talks with Saudi Arabia believed to have been taking place for some time, and last week CAF announced that it had signed a 5-year cooperation and development agreement with the Saudi Arabian Football Federation. A move, it said, quote, would foster growth opportunities for African and Saudi Arabian football. Signed a memorandum, or an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that'll focus on initiatives around technical and football development at club and national team levels and in grassroots football. It's understood CAF has been struggling financially since a $1 billion television and marketing rights deal with Lagardère Sports was canceled in 2019. So once again, keep an eye on 2030's World Cup and where votes could go. This is another element where, as you look forward, Africa backing a Saudi Arabian bid, voting as a bloc. Keep an eye on that as we get closer to 2030 and it comes to what's going on in the world of football. Also, sad news last night, Saturday night. 12 people passed away after a crowd crush at a football stadium in El Salvador at the Estadio Cuscatlán. And the president, Nayib Bukele, pledges a thorough investigation. More than 100 injured in a crowd crush at a football stadium as Alianza and Club Deportivo FAS were playing in the second leg of their playoff quarterfinal. Play was suspended after 16 minutes. Federation added it would immediately request a report on the incident, suspending the tournament after Saturday's events, calling for a meeting with the National Security Commission for Sports Venues. It's one of the largest, Cuscatlán is one of the largest stadia in Central America, official capacity of more than 44,000. Footage showed posted, and you can find it on social media if you wish. Footage posted online showed severe overcrowding outside an entry gate, with officials claiming they would investigate reports of fake match tickets being sold. So keep an eye on that. Officials added 500 people had been given medical treatment at the stadium, 100 of those transferred to nearby hospitals. And there is a report going around that it could have been a lot of fans who wanted to get into the match either had tickets or had fake tickets, and it was an issue with the area Wi-Fi that was causing things to crash and readouts being difficult to make and things like that. So that's one theory that is being floated at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that, and obviously sending all of our love to everyone who is a fan of El Salvador in football or may have folks who were impacted by what happened at the Estadio Cuscatlán. So obviously we'll keep an eye on that story as we continue to go forward there. One more thing before we go. I changed my mind. 2 more things before we go, other than Marcelo Bielsa agreeing to a 3-year deal with Uruguay. The Dutch FA, KNVB, is launching a new investigation into Vitesse Arnhem links to Roman Abramovich. Dutch Football Association is looking into that after The Guardian and the Bureau of Investigative Journalism uncovered documents that appear to show Abramovich secretly poured more than €100 million into Vitesse. Chelsea and Vitesse, known to have a close relationship with the London club, frequently sending players on loan to their Dutch partner. This comes from Rob Davies and Simon Locke at The Guardian. 2 teams had previously denied that the oligarch was involved in funding Vitesse. Latest investigation marks the 3rd effort by the KNVB to probe the funding of Vitesse and any ties to Abramovich after previous inquiries in 2010 and 2014-15. The investigations found Vitesse was bankrolled by a British Virgin Islands company called Marindale Trading Limited, which belonged to the club's former owner, Alexander Chigurinsky. However, they concluded Abramovich had no managerial influence on the club. The new inquiry comes after The Guardian and the TBIJ revealed documents appear to show that Marindale Trading was not the ultimate source of the club's money. Instead, the company was part of a chain of loans originating from two companies in the British Virgin Islands, Ovington Worldwide and Watton Overseas. Both BVI companies belong to Cyprus-based trusts, of which Abramovich was the sole beneficiary. Between 2010 and 2016, at least €117 million appears to have gone through that network of companies, which included entities in Liechtenstein, Belize, BVI, and the Netherlands. KNVB has told The Guardian that they were previously not aware of the arrangements, and Vitesse has previously said they had no knowledge of the way in which Marindale was financed. The club has changed hands since then, is in the midst of a new U.S. takeover by investment group by the Common Group. Information about the funding of Marindale came to light in the oligarch files, a cache of leaked data originating from the Cyprus-based offshore service provider Merit Service. Chelsea's declined comment. Abramovich and Chigurinsky did not respond to requests, and Vitesse says they have not yet received any formal information from the KNVB about next steps, including a possible investigation. However, it is expected KNVB wants this investigation to be conducted by an independent specialized company that will probably also be appointed by the KNVB. And one last thing before we go. In England, it's Mental Health Awareness Week. But frankly, it should be something that goes on more than just a week, and it should be something that we all keep an eye on every single day with those either close to us, those in our circle, or those that we may only touch every once in a while. Jeff Stelling he has one more week of being the host of Soccer Saturday. And he has never been one to mince words when it comes to something that is close to his heart, whether it is a city, a club, his club, Hartlepool, or something in the public consciousness. He was presenting Soccer Saturday yesterday. The program broke into a discussion about the effects of eating disorders to mark Mental Health Awareness Week, and he revealed that more people die from eating disorders than any other mental disorder each year. So he spoke on the topic during Soccer Saturday, and here is that minute and a half, courtesy of our friends at Sky Sports News.
It's my second last show, so I'm going to have my final sort of rant, if you like, and I've got to be careful to get it right. There was a march this morning. This relates to Abby Davis, actually. There was a march this morning in central London by the people who run a Dump the Scales campaign. It's led by the indefatigable Hope Virgo every year. More people die from eating disorders every year than any other mental illness. The government's lack of awareness and funding is national disgrace. They decided to put calories, for goodness sake, on people's menus. Up to 20% of all eating disorder cases end in death. And the cycle goes like this. As Abby said, boy, girl, woman, man, goes for help. They are told they are not thin enough. They are not underweight enough for any treatment. They go away, they lose more weight, they go further and deeper into the mental morass they're in, they have suicidal tendencies. They are then told you are now too thin to be treated, and you are offered palliative care, for God's sake. So we're not going to help you, but we will try and ensure that you die comfortably. It's 2023. Eating disorders are being swept under the carpet. No one should be dying of an eating disorder in 2023. Those with eating disorders need action and help. They need it now.
And for those unfamiliar with Abby Davies, just to give you a bit of a primer in this, because you heard there were some things that we're going through, and it started back in 2017. Abby Davies was 25 at the time, and the articles are out there. And she had a voice in her head that drove her anorexia. Developed the disorder while she was still in primary school. Initially, she said it was a companionship. It stole my trust in order to manipulate my thoughts. When there were aspects of my life that I could not influence and when I found it difficult to deal with my emotions, anorexia allowed me to feel a sense of control over my food intake. She said she needed that voice happy, needed to make the voice happy and would stop at nothing to do so. Days were spent counting calories, exercising obsessively, obeying all the demands of her illness, coupled with body dysmorphia, which causes a person to have a distorted view of how they look, made her gravely ill. Passionate Swansea City fan, still lived in her head, never again have the power and control of her mind. And that was the initial thoughts back in 2017. And she's on Twitter, by the way, at Swan Abbey, at Swan ABI. She had she had gone 3 years without any kind of an anorexia relapse. And those who see her now see her on Sky Sports. They see her on IMG and BBC and ITV and listen to her on TalkSport and how she has taken part of her life and now is front and center as a recognition of how to attack these kinds of things. Saturday, she said, I didn't want treatment. When in the grip of anorexia, I refused to comply time and time again. Terrifying to think that if that was happening now, I could be given end-of-life care. Things need to change now. And to have one of her heroes in Jeff Stelling say what he said about a coworker and someone he holds in such high regard, you had that as a moment on television on Saturday over in England. And it's a reminder for all of us to be there for everyone, more than just that notion of thoughts and prayers, but about love and respect and support. And with that, that's another round of the back page. Thanks for hanging out with us here on SDH every single week, and we will be back on Monday with the morning show. So for everybody here at SDH, be safe, be well, and we'll catch up with you soon.